Good morning, people. How we doing? And welcome back to the channel. Everything is ready to go back together on the dually. I come out here Sunday morning and probably we've been out here for probably, I don't know, half hour or so, just checking things over, making sure that I'm ready and have everything done. And wouldn't you know, it starts raining on me. Now, they did predict about a 30% chance of rain, but you know, I guess that 30% has turned into 100%. So I looked at the radar. Looks like this is just a passing thing within the next hour or so. So we're gonna see if we can't get this setting on its own tires today and take care of a couple other things. One other issue that I had that I'm going to address right now, I'm waiting on to stop raining, is this e-brake cable has some wear spots on it where it actually has the coating completely off of it. So I have an idea that I'm going to try and take care of this, see if it helps. Now, there shouldn't be any fraying involved, but there could be if that would get worse. The e-brake cables, they're plastic coated even on the inside, so there's no steel exposed in there. But what could possibly happen with that being like that is this start wearing on that plastic coating eventually. Now, that'll be a long time down the road, and start causing that failure of the plastic coating that's on the cable itself. So what I've got is a piece of shrink tube, and I'm going to slide that on there, and after I clean all this stuff up, I'm going to slide this shrink tube on there and try and take care of it that way and see if that works. You know, before I get started, and if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button, become part of the family, and make sure and hit that bell notification so that you are notified anytime that I upload a video. So I try not to let things bother me just too much. There was a comment on one of my videos last winter, the one that I was doing the carrier bearing again inside the garage. And the gentleman's name was Chris. I know his first name was Chris, and I want to say his last name was Glover or Clover or Clover or something like that. I responded to him and said, hey, thanks for the view, and thanks for watching, something like that. But like I said, I know there's going to be negativity. I know there's going to be negative comments, and I'm all for those. But this just takes it a little bit too far for me. I try not to, like I said, I try not to let things bother me, but once you start attacking my family, then that's when it becomes an issue. You know, this channel, yes, I'm going to show you guys how to do some things, but it's also, there's an entertainment value there to where the subscribers, or family members, I'm sorry, you know, they like to see what's going on, and there's more, sometimes there's more talking than there is working, sometimes there's more working than there is talking. There's always going to be not quite the right balance in there for me, because sometimes I get long-winded, and I do apologize for that. But you know, he took it to the point to where it was F you, F your son, and F the snow. I went back and watched the video. Yes, did I do a lot of talking during that video? Yes, I did. Did I do less working on that video? Yes, I did. Like I said, sometimes I get long-winded, and sometimes I apologize for that. But when you attack my family, when you attack my son like that, that takes it beyond what I feel is appropriate. That you know, some people are just miserable. Oh, I remember what it said. I said, thanks for watching. I said, those who can't usually criticize, so that makes you a person who can't. That was my comment to him, and I thought about leaving it up there because I knew I was going to say something in my next video about it, and let my current and loyal subscribers go to that video and verbally clean his clock like I could have. But that's not what this channel is about. I like to promote positivity. You know, I have had some negativity because of this dually build, and I've let it affect me just a little bit more than I should, but things are back on track, and I hope to get it on the road within the next week. There's just a few little things I want to do yet before I can drive it, but it may be more in the week because we got to do the bed work too. But anyway, like I said, there's an entertainment value. Attack me, tell me what you want. I don't care. Don't attack my family. That's just uncool, man. So Chris, you're a tool. is basically what I have to say. And I hope you watch this video and know and make a comment, because I won't take your next comment down, and I'll let my loyal family members basically take care of you. I did turn his comment into YouTube, so maybe they'll take action on it also. Anyway, that's all I had to say about that. I apologize, but that really bothered me to the fact of why attack my family like that. I mean, like I said, what a tool. And you know, we all know what a tool really is. So that's just a nice way of saying it. Anyway, let's get back to taking care of this emergency brake cable real quick. Alright, what do I want to start by doing is just cleaning this coating off. It won't take much. That's pretty much good enough there. Now, I ran into a little bit of an issue. You know, in your head, I mean, this would be the perfect size to go on there and seal it up. But what I didn't take into account is this end right here and this going over it. So that won't work. So I had to get a bigger piece of heat shrink. Hopefully this works, to be able to slide over this piece here that goes in the bracket. So hopefully this seals up the way I want it to, and I'll be able to get it shrunk down and taken care of. I'm using a heat gun to do this. You can use a small little MAP gas torch, whatever you have. I just like using a heat gun because a heat gun will shrink it without burning it like a torch does. Yeah, it's raining, isn't it? That's kind of what I had in mind with that. That'll protect that cable in there, cover up that bare spot in there, so hopefully that'll keep that from rusting anymore on that inner liner and fraying the plastic. So what I might do, since it was so big, it does look like it has it sealed up pretty good. Just a little extra precaution, just wrap some tape around these ends and go from there. One thing that I did, I'm still don't know if I'm going to be happy with the way it's going to be sitting just on these low ring shackles. So I got to looking around, and right here's one of the bolts. I started taking one of the bolts out to see if it was possible that I would still have room if I would loosen that up and be able to, you know, have it out of the threads there. That's locked in the threads. That's not. And be able to just tip this off and be able to get past this overload spring. As you can see, that's not even out of the threads yet. That's out of the threads right there, and it's not going to pass that overload spring. So as I started looking at things, I started looking at these calipers and these brackets, and I noticed that they aren't even the same as what I have back here. So then that started raising some issues or some questions to me. Is okay, what did this is supposed to be out of an 03. So did some searching around, did some looking, stuff like that. Those calipers are actually for a single wheel. Now I don't know if if it was an option. I don't know what the deal is. So then that prompted me to think that maybe this was a dually conversion. And I really don't know how they did it, because a single wheel axle tubes are right around an inch longer than what dually wheel axle tubes are. So I measured my axle tubes with this one to the one that I have over there by the hedge, and they're the same. So for some reason, this rear end has single wheel calipers on it. So what I'm going to probably do is switch everything back over, or if they're the same pads, leave it. But it raises some, not issues with me, but some questions with me if those calipers and those brackets sit different on this axle, and I would still be able to get that bolt out if I would take one of those spacers out of there just to drop it down another 5/8 of an inch or so. I'm still going to explore the idea of taking that leaf pack apart and taking those spacers out of there to try and get it sitting down just a little bit lower. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that. I'm just kind of waiting for it to stop raining. Everything's kind of painted up the way that I wanted it to. When I do the brakes, I'll go ahead and paint those brackets at that point in time, and we'll go from there. Throw some paint on the hubs without hitting the rotors. Those rotors are in really good shape. There's little to no lip on there. There's no grooves wore in there. There was just brakes done on this. Like I told you before, that caliper over there and bracket is new. So we're just gonna kind of run with them. We're just gonna put new pads on these and go with it. So ordinarily you would want to turn these or get new rotors and put on there. So these rotors here, these dually adapters are bolted in from the back side of the rotor. So your traditional lug pattern is still there. There's just bolts that goes in through the backside and goes in these little pieces right here, and then your studs mount in the center of each of those. So once again, these dually adapters are bolted in from the backside. So right now I think we have a rain delay. Alright, now it has stopped raining. Hopefully I have a window of opportunity. I'll be able to get this setting on its own wheels and off the jack stands. This is how everything turned out. It took a whole quart to get this done. I did put 2 coats like you're supposed to on the rougher areas, but on the smoother areas it just has 1, just because of the amount of paint that I had and didn't have, but still pretty rough in places. But it is sealed, and hopefully no more rust. It'll last as long as I'm gonna have it anyway. But it did turn out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way the frame looks now. So I just wish the cab was off and we could have done the whole thing. But this underneath, it isn't in real bad shape. So I'm probably just gonna hit it with that rust reformer, the Rust-Oleum that I have in there. And then just get a semi-gloss, which is what this Port 15 is. Just get some semi-gloss and go over the rest of the frame with that. So right now, let's get this sitting on its own tires. Well, wouldn't you know, as soon as I get everything set up to put that rear end back in, it starts raining again. But as you guys saw, I didn't care. I wanted it back on his tires today and off the jack stands, and I did accomplish that, even though I am kind of soaked from head to toe. But oh well, I don't care. It's sitting kind of okay. You can see just a little bit of rake forward yet. But it's not settled. I'm gonna go back inside, get my camera out of the rain. It's not settled, and the bed's not on it. So we're gonna have the weight of the bed. I'm gonna have the weight of the fifth wheel on there. So we're gonna see kind of what happens when we get, like I said, the weight of the bed on there, the fifth wheel plate back in place. Not fifth wheel. Gooseneck hitch in place. I mean, there's not a lot of weight there. There's maybe a couple 100 pounds once it's all assembled and put back together. The bed probably weighs about 4, maybe 500 pounds. The dually beds are a little bit lighter, I'm sorry, a little bit heavier than a regular single wheel bed because of the plastic fender wells. So we're just gonna see what happens when all that weight's on there, if it settles and sits the way I want it to. But for the time being, we are gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten everything up and kind of go from there. But right now I am just tickled to death that it is sitting back on its tires instead of on jack stands. I did go ahead and hook the drive shaft up too. I do need to, like I said, tighten the 4 bolts up for the leaves and get the bags bolted down where they go. And yeah, I'm stoked. I'm excited. I'm glad everything is back together. So anyway, I do have one other thing to add. If you guys do not have any of these continuous cinch straps, you need to pick some of these up. I mean, I use these all the time. I'm on the last 3 or 4 videos, you guys can see that I've used these to lift the rear end out of the truck. I've used these to lift the truck up, to pull the rear end out. You can choke them. You can make a continuous, I mean, they're just a continuous strap. You can choke them off. You can loop them, you know, like that. These have a vertical lift of 2,400 pounds, a choked lift of 19, and a basket is what that stands for, I believe, of 4,500 pounds or 4,800 pounds. Like I said, these are from Lift All. I will put a link in the description for those. Believe it or not, they are available on Amazon. And you can pick them up there. So there's a link in the description for those. Guys, I appreciate each and every one of you very much. Thank you all for becoming part of the family and subscribing to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Gonna let the negativity from that guy's comment just kind of run off my back like a duck. So, like water off a duck's back. There we go. Anyway, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already done so. You guys have a great Labor Day, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.